60 seconds, one story. Let's talk about this issue with what the AP and the rest of the news are accusing Trump of, unconstitutional behavior and whatever else in terms of Marbury versus Madison. So what's the context? Well, it's basically the same old thing from the media. They will not tell you the truth. They will put a headline in there. They'll expect that you're stupid, and they'll expect that you'll just believe what they have to say and have no ability to independently research the topic. However, this isn't the case. Many of us are smart, especially the people that follow content with people trying to look into things properly. So let's do this as quickly as possible. But first, let's start with the AP article, what Marbury versus Madison means for the Supreme Court and America. Guess what? They misrepresent it, of course. They make it out like this is about whether the Supreme Court is the final arbiter of the law. It's nothing to do with the case at all. In fact, that's such an egregious lie that it just swings past people even once they figure it out. But what they're saying to you is, Trump is trying to say the Supreme Court isn't the ultimate law. He's trying to be a dictator. Hello, same playbook, same brainwash, same idiots. So let's teach you very quickly how to be lawyers, shall we? Because people have told me that they can be just by Googling, and I've tried to say you can't. So rather than be part of the problem, I'll be part of the solution. What you want to do is IRAC, first of all, issue, rule, analysis, conclusion. That is the framework that you should be using. That's the framework that a lawyer should be using. If they're not using it, do not pay them a cent. Issue, rule, analysis, conclusion. That is for advice or working out what something works with. So what's the issue? To what extent does Marbury versus Madison apply? Now, we're not looking to confirm bias. We're not looking to say, Trump man bad, Trump man good. Let the idiots do that. Let the intelligent people actually look into cases properly, given that's been weaponized so much in the media. So what are they trying to say is that Trump is trying to mess with the idea of them being the final arbiter of the law. So they're manipulating the situation. So what is the rule? Now, I personally love to use ChatGPT or DeepSeek or something like that as a beginning. Now, sometimes they can hallucinate, but you just double check your work at the end and see if, like mathematics, you check your proofs because they are such a quick way of researching. And I knew this 10 years ago in the industry, legal industry was being warned that a lot of it was going to be automated, and now it's here. But anyway, so the first thing you do is you've got to learn a few terms. Learn this one, ratio decidendi. You pump that into an AI, it's going to know exactly what you want. Ratio decidendi is Latin for the reasons for the decision, and that is what makes up the precedent. That's what makes up the law as it applied, right? Now, here we go, next one. This is what GPT put it down as three things. The supremacy of the Constitution. That means the Constitution is above the judicial court, which obviously they're trying to tell you opposite. Yeah? Co-equal branches. No, the Constitution is the ultimate law. It isn't the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is not that at all. The role is to interpret the Constitution and determine whether laws passed by Congress align with constitutional principles. This interpretive authority inherently includes the power to invalidate unconstitutional laws, which is called ultra vires. That means you're outside your powers, you're being illegal, you can't have this law, sorry. And it gets struck off the books. Then there's also judicial review as the ultimate arbiter of constitutional disputes. This is very important. It's the arbiter of constitutional disputes. It's not the final arbiter of the law. Roe v. Wade ended up being a constitutional dispute. It was overturned because I think is it the 4th or the 5th Amendment? I don't really keep track of detail like that. But one of those amendments to do with privacy could not be extended to the privacy of a woman's body. That was to do with search, seizures, warrants. So that is what happened there. But of course the media taught everybody different so they could get a squealing bunch of women in the streets, yelling and screaming. And that's really what that's about. But anyway, that's a diversion. So we know there what that's about. That's what the rule's about. Now, what we need to find out is a bit of an analysis, right? And I've also had a bit of a look at the case itself. And also, was there any obiter dicta there? What's obiter dicta? That means things said by the way. So while they're approaching this dispute, what is it called again? Marbury. Let's call it Marbury. While they're approaching this dispute, there's the ratio. That's the rule. And then there's the reasoning. That is not to do with, it's things that come up that's a side comment that isn't directly associated, but can be very persuasive for other cases. So we look at that. And essentially when you look through the reasoning of that case, what it says is, yes, it depends on the matter, right? Because it's an individual thing. It depends what we're talking about. Generally, if it's to do with executive power, you can't touch it. That's it. And we say generally because, hey, you don't know until you actually see a case. But this thing here with USAID, if that's what they're talking about, is clearly within the executive power. It is via the State Department, for F's sake. So if they provide an appropriation bill to send funding there, that's just an appropriation bill. He doesn't have to spend it. That's just the right to draw down the money. There is no court in a land that's ever going to do that unless it's completely corrupted and stupid. Because what you're saying is that if I become your president and you voted me in and my policy is no more US aid, bad luck, Parliament supreme. So if you go back to the Constitution, it doesn't say the Parliament or the Congress is supreme, does it? It says the president under the executive authority is supreme over those things. Now, we have executive orders, we have all sorts of things coming out of that place. And that's normal, that's called policy. So as soon as you start to see policy, that's getting on the realm of executive. So not only are they misrepresenting it, this case most likely, if you look at that case, you know, it'll side with Trump, depending on which ones they're trying to constantly do. But isn't it interesting that everybody can become a lawyer just by reading Associated Press? Not by doing IRAC, not finding out the rule, not reading the ratio, not reading the obiter, not trying to assess if they can distinguish the case, and not trying to do any sort of conclusion of their own. Instantly. And then they're sycophants for it, and they jump and scream and shout and go, this is what's wrong, you're evil. You're evil, hit the cord. But that's the reality of the situation. And someone like me, who is learned, does enjoy learning about other countries and really has wanted to learn about the US. I'm pretty much done with that, 10 years of it. You know, I just sit back in awe at the ability of people to be so thick. You can't be an expert in complicated matters by reading one article. You're not an expert. What is happening is you're inserting your brain that person's opinion. Now, I haven't given you an opinion. It's up to your opinion, what you think of that analysis. You can do your own. And then it's up to your opinion whether that analysis is appropriate anyway, or whether it should be curtailed. But if you believe that the executive does not have the legal power to appoint someone to cut budget spending, then not only are you crazy, but you're on the wrong side of things. That money's not going in your pocket, it's coming out of your pocket. And you're arguing about it being cut. But that's just what we talk about, is Trump derangement syndrome. Trump derangement syndrome. It's a real thing. It's hilarious. It should be in the DSM.